Hey, welcome back, guys. Snowfall's 8th episode, aptly titled Celebration, was meant to be a joyous occasion for the longest-standing couple in the series, Jerome and Louis. However, it also served as a drug-induced moment of clarity for a variety of our main players, most notably Franklin, who was forced to come to terms with himself and his actions head-on. I'm here to break it all down in typical Top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Snowfall. Here we go. WTF moment number 10, The Devil You Know. The episode kicks off with something that we surely wish was a dream, but proved to be one of the few sober events that we all saw coming. Louis meets with Teddy clandestinely and campaigns to buy from him directly as opposed to using Franklin as a middleman. She expresses the deceptive nature of the meeting and seemingly gains Teddy's approval. This maneuver plays right into the decorated agent's hands, as he's lost much faith in his once solid distro. Also, as a man trained in U.S. intelligence, he understands the science behind divide and conquer and will implement it thoroughly now that dissension amongst the ranks is confirmed. WTF moment number 9, a meeting with Mr. Kane. In a startling state of affairs, Veronique pays Kane an impromptu visit to discuss the safety threshold between him and Franklin. She requires assurances prior to returning to Saint full-time and leans on the rightfully embittered OG to provide them. Kane obliges her, ensuring that she need not worry and confirming the truce between the once warring factions. WTF moment number 8, like water for chocolate. At the star-studded wedding, Scully notices a fountain of flooding chocolate and questions the lovely hostess on its purpose. Upon gathering that every member of the wedding party will have a chance to devour its sweet goodness, the friendly, yet scorned blood leader serves up an off-screen wedding favor that we'll never forget, one that shapes much of the trippy nature of this roller coaster episode. WTF moment number 7, the kick-in. Franklin consumes a hefty portion of the spiked chocolate and gradually begins to feel the hallucinogenic effects. However, he's not the only member of the high society, as Oso, Avi, Leon, and others are all affected by its heavy influence. During this moment of clarity, or should I say, fogginess, Franklin notices an unrealized apparition moving across the table, has an hilarious moment with Wanda, and reconnects with the spirit of inebriation with an even higher Leon, at least a vision of his old friend, assumedly. WTF moment number 6, blast from the past. As the drugs begin to really set in, Franklin finds himself visited by his old friend Rob, who he murdered at the top of the season due to his strung-out status and loose-end potential. Rob questions his old friend's motivations in taking his life, fueling the guilt already residing inside of Saint's psyche. Then, Rob surprisingly ups a massive banger and shoots Franklin dead, at least from a metaphysical perspective. This was one of the first and most powerful visions Franklin experienced as part of his mind's reaction to Scully's infamous wedding gift. WTF moment number 5, lies dripped with honey. Franklin wasn't the only one heavily infected by Scully's psychedelics. Sissy Saint comes to her son's aid during his fear-laden trip and comforts him temporarily before scolding the monster he's become as a result of his ambitions. Then, she emphatically confronts Ruben outdoors, who's disguised as a waiter and only there because of her initial tip. In her imbalanced state, she accuses her secret ally of wanting her family dead, eventually running him off in front of an equally inebriated Avi and concerned Leon. WTF moment number 4, a gangster and a family man. Veronique is the next vision to pay Saint a visit, and she makes him aware that he's fighting a losing battle inside, essentially by trying to serve two masters. She encourages him to be true to his own self, guaranteeing his family's destruction if he doesn't definitively choose a side, legitimacy or criminality. She then affirms that his family's only chance at survival may lie in their betrayal of him. This was deep because it was an indictment of his subconscious mind against his conscious actions and behavior. Franklin can feel the treacheries to come, and as we know, they are closer than he can ever imagine. WTF moment number 3, it's gonna be you. Franklin's next encounter comes in the form of Teddy, who he imagines an exchange with that turns out to actually take place. He communicates to his longtime supplier that he appreciates him for putting him on. However, Things take a turn for the worse when Franklin then outlines his plans to kill Teddy before Teddy can kill him. His revelation was a shocking one and placed Franklin further behind the 8 ball than he could ever know. WTF moment number 2, Franklin versus Franklin. In his final vision, Franklin comes face to face with his former self, a younger, idealistic version that preceded his present-day vicious persona. The former Franklin vigorously chastises his present self for the mess his life has become, as well as the monster that created it. In an instant classic scene that has garnered critical acclaim and praise for our series lead, former Franklin heaps the shame of death upon his present-day self, leaving him to question his actions and their motivations, the very thing he keeps hidden in the darkest depths of his psyche, the fear of it all falling apart. And WTF moment number 1, the kiss of death. After the longest of days, Franklin saves the last dance for his auntie and attempts to reconcile his faults post-epiphany. He stresses that their bond can still be saved, but Louis rebuts his assertion, calmly conveying that she must follow her own path now, and sealing her clandestine betrayal parallel to their exchange via Buckley with a single kiss on the lips. This maneuver reignites the fear of betrayal sparked by Franklin's previous psychological conflicts, primarily the one with himself. Some lingering thoughts before we end today's video. This episode represented the calm before the storm. It was named Celebration because it's a prelude to some very dark times to come, and will likely be the last time we see the family all together intact. Also, the psychedelic element played out like a dream because the nightmare is pending in the worst way. There's something quite eerie about Veronique's meeting with Kane, something morbid in fact. I think we've assessed her role in Franklin's life all wrong. For the better part of this season, many have viewed her as a potential op against Franklin. But what if she serves as his karma? Nick's main concern has been her and her family to be's safety, and Franklin's guilt-ridden LSD trip challenged his many sins post-entering the drug game. I wonder if his punishment is going to be more severe than we know. Her life, and baby's by extension, just may be in jeopardy given the tone of her meeting with Kane. Plus, factor in Louis' betrayal in having the OG's life attacked. If successfully executed, who's to say the retaliation won't be severe? The love of Franklin's life has been seen by many of Kane's associates due to that meeting, and they'll assume it was he who ordered the hit on their slain leader, assuming he's killed. In short, Veronique might be out of here, y'all, and guess whose fault it would be? Speaking of that potentially guilty party, Queen Louis definitely sealed her betrayal against her nephew with the kiss of death. For those who don't know, the kiss of death was a callback to The Godfather Part 2. It symbolized Michael's acknowledgement of his brother's treachery against him, and ultimately ended in his removal. One of the most classic and tragic moments in the history of cinema. This doesn't bode well for our once favorite auntie, as she could be signing off on her own death certificate, especially if my aforementioned suggestion comes to pass and Veronique's life is taken as collateral damage for Louis' insatiable ambitions. We'll see how they play it in the final 2. Though it wasn't explicitly confirmed, I think Ruben is possibly working for the DEA. His appearance at the wedding notwithstanding, there were other participants surveilling the criminal-heavy celebration, one of which we've seen in prior seasons, whose name eludes me at this time, so please drop it in the comments for those of you who remember. One of the things that set off Sissy, besides the chocolate of course, was a vision of Alton she seemingly witnessed from behind. Before confirming her apparition, she was sidetracked by an equally high Jerome. It was an interesting flip to see Wanda, the only sober soul amongst the multiple high ones. Damn near poetic actually, as Wanda once existed in a world all her own via crack, and witnessing her representing the sole voice of reason was compelling to say the least. And finally, Franklin's descent into the psychological abyss was such a fascinating display that I created a separate video for it altogether. You can check it out in the link above or the pinned comment below. And that'll do it for this one. What were your thoughts on Celebration? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are fans of Snowfall, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.
Rudy beat that beat with a bad.